Hello and welcome back. This is part 2 of chapter 4C. So in the last video, we did the first half of this packet. Just to review, we did savings plans and how to plug in into the savings plan formula. This time we are going to do the total return, annual return, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, the rest of this packet. So let's jump right in. So the definition of the total return is going to be the percentage change in the investment valued over a 5-year period. And then for the annual return, the definition will be the average annual rate at which your money grew over years of investment. So the difference here is that when you're investing in a stock, bond, mutual fund, the total return calculates, if we're investing over 5 years, the total return calculates how much we either gained or lost over the 5 years. The annual return calculates the gain or loss per year. So these are going to be the formulas, and we'll jump right into an example. So if we invest $3,000 in a mutual fund, over 4 years, your investment grows to $8,400. What are your total and annual returns on the 4-year period? So first we establish what the letters mean. So our principal investment is $3,000. We get that from here, our investment. Time is 4 years, because it's given here in the problem. And then our investment grows to $8,400, so our accumulated is $8,400. And then we can just plug all of these directly into the total return formula up here. So total return, so we are going to do, on top we have A minus P, which gets us 8,400 minus 3,000. And the denominator is just P, so 3,000. 8,400 minus 3,000 is 5,400 over 3,000. And then once you put that into your calculator, you should get 1.8. And we don't usually leave it as 1.8. We generally write it as a percentage because the definition of total return, so 180% total growth of our investment. So that would be your solution. Total return, 180%. Next, annual return. So plugging everything directly into this formula, A over P is 8,400 over 3,000. To the power of 1 over T gets us to the power of 1 over 4, and then minus 1. And when you put that into your calculator, you should get approximately 1.3. And then again, since we are talking about percentages, we convert it into a percentage. So we have around 130% increase every year, but overall, over the 4-year period, our investment increased 180%. So per year was 130, overall was 180. So that's the difference between total and annual. All right. So for the next example, we purchased shares in a stock for $2,000. 3 years later, we sold them for $1,100. What were your total and annual returns on this investment? So again, we will first establish all of our letters. So the principal, the P, is going to be 2,000. The time was 3 years, and the accumulated was 1,100. So y'all remember that accumulated is not always going to be the larger number. So this is going to be an example of when we invest in a stock and we end up losing money, because that can happen. So our total return, we plug again straight into this formula up here, and we get 1100 minus 2000 over 2000. So first I'll do the numerator, 1100 minus 2000. That gets us negative $900 divided by 2000. When you put that into your calculator, you should get negative 0.45. And again, that is not the final solution. We need to write it as a percent. So we can write that as negative 45%. It makes sense that we got a negative because we lost money. All right. Next, we will do the annual return. So plugging straight into this formula up here, we get 1100 over 2000 to the power of 1 over 3 minus 1. Putting that into a calculator, you get approximately negative 0.18. Thus, we write that as negative 18%. Again, what this means is over the course of 3 years, we had negative 45% on our investment, so it was a loss, but per year it was negative 18%. So overall is total, per year is annual. All right, moving on. 3 basic types of investments. I like how it says 3, but there are 4. Let's correct that to 4. Four basic types of investments. That's a little better, right? All right. So first we will do the definition of a stock. So a stock, the formal definition is it gives you a share of ownership of the company. You invest by purchasing shares. The only way to get your money out is to sell your shares in the stock. And then the definition of bond. Oh, goodness. Sorry about that. Okay. A bond represents a promise of future cash. The issuer pays you simple interest and promises to pay back your initial investment. So a bond is when you pay the face value of the bond, and then there's a simple interest that the issuer will pay. These are generally getting from banks, treasury, notes, they're like from the government. Stocks you can kind of buy and sell on your own. And then cash investments, kind of what it sounds like. For cash investments, those are going to be like the savings plan problems. The definition is going to be money you deposit into bank accounts. Generally, they earn interest. Finally, we have a mutual fund. So for a mutual fund, it is a kind of investment that uses money from multiple investors, sometimes referred to as a pool, to invest in stocks or bonds. There is a longer definition of mutual fund on the last page, so I'll go more into detail when we get there. But for now, we will do stocks and bonds since we kind of already did cash investments at the beginning of the chapter. All right, the first example. Suppose the open value of the Microsoft stock is $68.41 per share. If 25,529,982 shares were traded today, what is the value of these shares? All right, well, if each share costs $68.41 and we sold 25 million, how we find the total value is just by multiplying. So if you put this into your calculator, 68.41 multiplied by 25,529,982, you should get approximately 1,747,000,000. I rounded to the nearest million just to make it an easier number to look at. But that is it. That is the solution. So these kind of problems with stocks, you just multiply how many shares there were by their value. Okay. Next. Suppose you purchase 100 stocks. Suppose you purchase 100 shares in the Microsoft stock today at the value of $68.41 per share. A month later, the stock value rises to $72.21, so you decide to sell all your shares. How much money did you make? So, for this one, we first need to calculate how much we spent. So if we bought in at $68.41 per share, we bought 100 shares, how do we calculate how much we spent? Well, similar to the previous problem, we'll just multiply. So 68.41 multiplied by 100, and hopefully that means you get $6,841. So that's how much you spent on your initial investment. Next, we need to calculate how much that you made. So when you sold your shares, you sold them at $72.21, and you're selling all 100 shares. So we multiply those two numbers together, and that gives us $7,221. So we spent $6,841 on our initial investment. When we sold all of our shares, we made $7,221. But we want the net gain, the profit. So if I spent $6,000 and I made $7,000, I didn't just make $7,000 out of thin air, right? So we need to then calculate our profit. So how we calculate profit, maybe some of you can guess. We're going to do 7,221 minus 6,841. You should get $380. So we made $380. And that is how you calculate the stock gain. And then if it were a loss, you would do the same way. You would just get a negative number. Okay? All right. So we're going to move on to some details about bonds. So bonds have three main characteristics. So first, what goes in these two little blanks here is going to be face value. The face value of the bond is the price you must pay to the issuer to buy at the time it is issued. So that's how much you pay for the actual bond. Next, the coupon rate of the bond is the simple interest rate that the issuer promises to pay. So they call bonds a promise of future cash because you buy it and then whoever's issuing it promises to pay you some simple interest on that bond. Next is going to be the maturity date of the bond. Oh goodness, what is happening with this PDF? There it is. The maturity date of the bond is the date on which the issuer promises to repay the face value of the bond. So we have face value, coupon rate, and maturity date are the three main characteristics of a bond. So the current yield of a bond, so this is where we'll have to do some calculations. Current yield of a bond is defined as the amount of interest it pays each year divided by the bond's current price. In a math formula, current yield equals annual interest divided by current price. This would be a given formula. Y'all don't have to memorize this. So let's go ahead and go forward with this example then. The closing price of a U.S. Treasury bond with a face value of $1,000 is quoted at 105.97 points. The current yield is 3.7%. If you buy this bond, how much annual interest will you receive? So first we need to figure out the current price of the bond. Alright, so let's go ahead and note here. The problem says points. What does points mean? Points means percentage points. So if it's quoted at 105.97 points, that means the bond is selling for 105.97% of its face value. So anytime you see points, it just means percentage points. Then we need to convert 105.97% into a decimal, which moving that decimal over 2 times gives us 1.0597. Okay? So that means the price of a bond, we multiply if it's 105.97% of 1,000, we multiply 1,000 by 1.0597. Put that into your calculator, you should get $1,059.70 if you prefer. But that's how you find just the current price. And we need the current price because that's what's in our denominator of this formula. So we found that. So then we also are given the current yield. So the current yield is 3.7%. We also must convert that into a decimal. So we get 0.037. Alright, now we have everything we need because we want to find annual interest, so that's here the numerator. And we have the current yield, which is 0.037, and we have the current price, which is 1,059.7. So now, what's really great is we can just plug all this stuff straight into the formula. So we have 0.037 equals annual interest payment divided by current price of the bond. So how do we solve for annual interest payment? We're going to need to multiply each side by the denominator, which is 1,059.7. So multiplying each side, we get that the annual interest payment is going to be $39.21. And that's it. So the strategy for these types of problems is we first must find the current price. And then once we find the current price, we just plug everything in. So when we're looking for annual interest, we solve by current yield equals annual interest over current price. Alright, next example. A $1,000 treasury bond with a coupon rate of 2.5% has market value of $1,050. Compute the current yield on the bond. So now we're looking for current yield, which is actually nice because if we go back and look at this formula, it's set up as current yield equals. So all we need to find is annual interest and then divided by current price. So we have current price, right? Market value, that's current price, $10.50. So we need to find annual interest. So how do we find that? Well, we will note that the bond is $1,000 and the coupon rate's 2.5%. So what do you think we're going to do with these two numbers? Well, probably multiply them, right? We want 2.5% of $1,000. Oh goodness, goodness, goodness. There it is. We want 2.5% of $1,000, so we need to multiply these to find the annual interest. When you multiply those, you should get 25. And then now we can just plug everything else directly into that formula. I'm so sorry, this PDF keeps jumping. Alright. So that means current yield is going to be equal to 25, which is annual interest, divided by 1050, which is the current price, market value. And that is going to be 0.024. Now we don't leave it like that because the current yield is written as a percentage. So that means the current yield is 2.4%. And that's it. So I'll calculate the annual interest. We're already given the current price, so once we find annual interest, we can plug directly into this formula, just divide, and we get 2.4% by moving the decimal over 2 places to the right. All right, cool. I'll go ahead and do the next one. If you would like to try the next one on your own, you're feeling a little confident, go ahead and do that now. Click pause, try this one by yourself. If not, stay with me, we'll go through it together. A $10,000 treasury bond with a current yield of 3.6% that's quoted at 102.5 points. Compute the annual interest you will earn on the bond. So first, we recall when the problem says points, it means percentage points. So if it's quoted at 102.5 points, that means the bond is selling for 102.5% of its face value. So we need to convert 102.5% into a decimal, which gives us 1.025. Do we need to find the current price of the bond? So we multiply those two together. 10,000 times 1.025 is 10,250. And then we're also given the current yield, which is 3.6%. Again, we must convert that into a decimal, 0.036. And then we plug into the formula just directly. So we have current yield equals annual interest payment divided by current price. So 0.036 equals annual interest payment divided by 10,250. So what do we do next? We're going to multiply each side by 10,250. When you put that into a calculator, what do you get? Well, hopefully, you get $369. So 10,250 multiplied by 0.036 is $369. All right? Okay. Next, we have mutual funds. I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little. So, for y'all to be able to read this piece right here. So check this out on this mutual fund. So basically this NAV symbol means that that is going to be the price you pay to buy into this stock. So the price of a share is going to be $222.21 just for one share. So let me zoom back out for y'all. Okay. There's also this really long paragraph about mutual funds. The most important thing to note is that generally a mutual fund means that you aren't just investing in a stock by yourself. You have some portfolio manager who manages you and a few other people, and he splits all y'all's investments up over multiple stocks. So it's better because it's a lower risk because your money's more spread out, but also the manager charges you a fee. So if you invest $1,000 in a fund where the manager's charging you a 5% fee, then only $950 is actually invested and the other $50 goes to the manager because he's essentially working for you, right? He's investing for you. So, the first example, suppose you decide to invest $3,000 in this fund today. How many shares would you be able to buy? And suppose the fee is 3%. So the first thing we need to take care of is calculating the fee for the manager. So if it's 3%, then we just take 3% of our $3,000 that we're investing. So 3% of $3,000 is 3,000 times 0.03. Which is 90. So that means that the manager keeps $90 and invests the rest of the money. So 3,000 minus 90 is 2,910. So that's how much of your money is actually being invested. So since we're investing $2,910 and the cost per share is $222.21, how we figure out how many shares we can buy. So we're spending $29.10 per share, 222.21. Generally per means divide. So that means we'll have 29.10 divided by 222.21, which approximately is 13.096. So we generally say that means we can purchase about 13 shares in the stock. Alright, so first you calculate the fee for the manager, you subtract that so you can find your actual investment, and you divide that by the cost of the stock. So you can get 13 shares in the stock. Alright, last problem. You decide to invest $5,500 in this fund today. How many shares would you be able to buy? Suppose the fee is 4.5%. So again, same strategy here. What we are going to do is first calculate the fee. So it's $5,500 multiplied by 0.045 because we need to convert this percent into a decimal. So that's going to be the money that the manager takes for investing for you. So the manager is taking $247.50. That means your actual investment is going to be $5,500 minus the manager fee, which is going to be $52.52.5. Finally, we can just divide this to figure out how many shares we need. So 52.52.5 divided by 222.21 is 23.64, so we can buy about 24 shares of the stock, approximately 24 shares. Alright, that actually wraps up for C. We are done with this section. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Go back, watch it through again if you didn't understand. But now we are fully done with the notes from Chapter 4C. So the next one we'll do is going to be 4D notes, and that'll wrap up Chapter 4. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.